me start this recording. We are recording. I am unplugging my computer. God help us all.
And
Okay.
10 minutes later, battery dead.
I thought you had to have it plugged in.
It's a long story. Let's just get on with this.
Clear the air lanes for the big broadcast.
We're not professional podcasters.
Say what? We barely know what we're doing.
It's funny because it's true.
But we have fun anyway.
I'm here to podcast.
Does everybody know what time it is?
We're going streaking! Yeah!
No, we're not. It's time for movies, pop culture, and more with the all-new Culture Cast, starting now. I'm Nick.
I'm the Gorehound.
And I'm Kiwi.
And this is the all-new Culture Cast, back for our newest and greatest episode ever. It's that time of year where C2...
Annual tradition.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting us to do a follow-up, but we are. It is become an annual tradition, I guess, around here, where we discuss the local big comic book convention, C2E2, the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, which happened this weekend, as of this recording. We're recording Sunday night. This episode will go up Monday, so tomorrow, so that'll be good.
Yeah, short turnaround.
Yeah, we don't do that too often. And the three of us had all gone to C2E2, as did the Gorehound's wife, the Graveyard Queen. Is she going to be popping up on this show at all?
No. Yeah, she wouldn't even take part in the face-to-face podcast. We'll have to get that one before she, jumps on the Skype mic.
No. So we had all attended this year, and we're going to, I guess, go through our experience, the good, the bad, and everything in between. So before we jump into that, let's jump into one of our regular segments. What have you been watching?
I can't really contribute a whole lot. I've been watching Shameless, like I mentioned last week, which has been getting me through. But Silicon Valley is coming up,
Yeah.
and so I'm excited for that. I mentioned last week I finished my Handmaid's Tale audiobook, and so I'm moving on to bigger and better things. I am reading graphic novels again, and I am doing this Krampus one. So out of season, out of place, but I am still enjoying it. And besides that, Mass Effect like crazy. So,
Kiwi, what about you? You been watching anything big?
I have been watching Scrubs.
always a classic.
When Scrubs was on, I'd catch episodes, I guess frequently, but I never watched every single episode. And it's on Netflix. And since I have time on the train, like if I'm not reading, I'm usually watching Netflix. So I was like, you know what? I see Scrubs pop up all the time. And I was like, you know what? I think it's time to watch Scrubs from the beginning. So I'm on season 3 right now. I don't know if we've really been watching anything else, Nick.
No, not really. We have not.
Doing costume work all last week.
Yes, it was very crazy with the costume work. Actually, we have been watching something, Kiwi.
Oh, let me guess. No, I'm totally blanking.
Stranger Things? We powered through that this past week.
Oh, we did power through it. Yes.
Yeah,
I think everybody powered through it once it first came out.
We're
Nobody
behind the
was
times.
taking that patiently. They went through that, and I think everybody watched it probably in less than a week.
Well, there was only
We did.
8 episodes. Yeah, we kind of
Right.
we watched it tied into C2E2. We watched it because some of the kids from Stranger Things was going to be at C2E2, and we didn't want to be left out in the cold, so we wanted to be with all the cool kids. So we watched it to know what was going on and to go to the actual panel. So it's kind of weird that we went to see spoilers. The Millie, what's her name? Millie
Brown.
Yeah, Millie Bobby Brown panel, and we didn't really know this person existed a week ago, literally. So it was kind of funny the turnaround there. But I've also been watching something that I'm finally finished with, which I will hold off on for right now because it ties in to our next segment, Man Crush of the Week.
Do it.
Man crush.
So I guess I will be contributing my first and most likely only ever
Oh,
man crush of the week. And this has happened because I asked the Kiwi something, and I guess I asked it in a very awkward or a very odd way.
Schoolgirl.
I did not mean to come off that way, but
It totally did.
I was watching. I've been slowly watching since New Year's, actually, the Luke Cage TV show, and I finally finished it this week because the guy who plays Luke Cage is going to be there at C2E2, and so I was watching one of the last episodes, and Kiwi was sitting down next to me watching a few minutes of it before she went to bed. And I turned to her and I asked her, "Do you find Mike Colter? Is it Colter? Yeah, Mike.
Mike. Yeah, Mike Colter.
Mike Colter, attractive?" And you kind of gave a he's okay. Sort of
everybody in the room said yes.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. And she's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know. He seems like he's an attractive guy. I was curious what you thought of it." And I guess I had said it in such a way that you've been teasing me relentlessly since.
I have. Okay, here's the thing. Like, I'm totally fine with you asking him if you thought like he was attractive because you thought he was attractive, but it was totally the way you asked. Like, I felt like you were a 16-year-old girl sitting next to me. You're like, "So, do you find him attractive?"
And I did not mean for it to like be like that, but I totally see what you mean. How it came off like that.
I've heard other men describe other men as, being good looking or attractive. You did not come off that way. You came off like a 16-year-old girl. Like, you find him attractive because I do.
Well, so be it, I guess. So, I guess by default that he has to be my man crush of the week there.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that's I think the quickest we've ever gotten through our preamble. Let's get into our.
It's been a very long day for all of us.
Yeah. It's a long weekend.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
As we had mentioned, we had went to the C2E2, the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo this weekend. This is its 6th or 7th, 8th year. I think
it is the biggest comic book convention. It is the biggest comic book convention in Chicago, right?
It at very least it rivals Wizard World, but I think C2E2, whose parent company is Reed Pop, is more respected than Wizard World. That's just my anecdotal sort of stuff. Wizard World, of course, is the big comic book convention that is in Rosemont, typically in August of the year. And I think it's a show that's gone downhill dramatically over time.
When was the last time you went?
2012, maybe. And the only reason I went that year was because you guys were going.
Yeah.
And like I wasn't going to go until you said, "Oh, we want to go." I'm like, "Okay," because I think it was like the first time you'd gone to a comic book show.
Yeah, it might have been.
And so I'm like, "Well, I'll go for that." And so we went to C2E2, and the Kiwi and I went all 3 days. We took off work.
Not to brag about it or anything.
Not to brag. We took off work on Friday, and we were there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I don't know how, Gorehound, you want to do this, but do you want to just go in chronological order about how our experiences were, and when we get to Saturday, when you and
let's hear about Friday.
Graveyard Queen, you can pop in. So, really quickly, I'm Kiwi. I don't know. Do you want to talk about our morning? About how we were how the fate was against us?
You mean the fact that you almost caused us to miss the train because you couldn't get your butt moving in the morning?
That's not fair.
Man.
That's not fair. We were running out the door, and I noticed the cats did not have any water, and you hadn't given them any treats, and they get upset when we don't do this before we go. So I was taking care of that, which left us a little behind. Then we got in the car, which didn't help matters much. We were behind the slowest guy ever, followed by getting caught at every stoplight, and luckily the train was a little late, so that helped. But
yeah, if the train was 2 minutes late. If the train had been on time, we would not have made that train.
So you wouldn't have come in at the same time as me.
We
Possibly,
might have been.
yeah.
Oh, well, not on Friday, but
Right. Well, the train after that was the thing is if we didn't catch our train that we wanted to, the next train wasn't until a whole hour later, and you're like, ah.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
in any event, we made it there, and we got to the convention about a little after 10 o'clock. And Fridays I think, is the best day to go almost because it's not as busy, it's more relaxed. I know, Kiwi, you like cruising the artist alley,
Mm-hmm.
and you could really do that. And we met some of our friends at the artist alley.
Yeah, I would like to touch on one thing before we talk about our friends. Is that here's the deal with the artist alley. I love looking at the independent arts, but you have to cruise Artist Alley at a time where you're not the only person looking at the artwork because I feel like every artist there is starving and everyone wants you to buy something from them. And like some people aren't like obvious about it, but I'd say there's a good portion that are like they give you like the sad eyes or they're like, oh, which ones do you like? And it's like,
Yeah.
you know what? I admire your artwork, but I'm also on a budget. So, you can't buy something from everybody. And I feel bad for them, but we do have a limit.
Yeah, because there are quite a few artists out there.
Yeah, and some of them are really expensive.
Yeah.
Like you'll see artwork. I remember, Nick, I didn't see them there this year, but like we talked about this once. I think we were at C2E2. The metal frames that.
Oh, yeah.
That famous picture. You know what I'm talking about. You can describe it better.
It's I'm sure it has a name, but it's a picture of a bunch of construction workers sitting, eating lunch on like a steel beam high up in the air.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
They had one that was that picture, but it was with stormtroopers and Darth Vader.
No, that's good.
It was a hilarious picture, and I loved it. But like, I remember it was at least $70, and I'm like,
it's pricey.
I can't spend $70 on this, So it's like I love the artwork, but I don't know how many people can afford all of this.
Yeah.
But a few years ago, 2 years ago, we ran into. You know what, Nick? Do you remember their names?
His name was Hogan.
It's Rob.
Rob Hogan.
There you
Name
go.
drop.
And they do these. I'm sure this is the name of an art style, but they do these paintings of characters, and they do them where they're in the corner of a picture or half the picture, and it's a distinct art style. It's pretty cool. And we bought a Kermit the Frog one, which we've hung, funny enough, in our bathroom, and they weren't there last year. They're like super friendly. They're super nice. They're from the local area, so support your local arts. But they weren't there last year, and we were like, we were disappointed because we wanted to see them again. But they were there this year. And I remember we were walking down Artist Alley, and I think I was like trying to point something out to you when you like smacked me in the stomach, like, Nick, look! And I'm like, how? And there they were. They were back at a booth. So there's that.
Yeah, and the artist's wife remembered us. She's like, yeah, you guys bought the Kermit, and you didn't want the Miss Piggy. And I was like, yes! So it was kind of cool that like we didn't see them for 2 years, and that they remembered which piece that we had bought.
Yeah. Either that, or we're the only person that ever bought anything from them, so they'll remember us.
I don't think so.
No, probably not. So he's, I guess he's doing some fine art gallery stuff now, which is kind of cool. That he's trying to branch out. He was explaining it to me, and I was kind of like, okay, yay, because he's matching up his style with someone else's or something like that.
Well, as a quick summary, it's two different artists working on the painting at the same time. So like they take turns working on it, so it's a collective piece.
Mm-hmm. So we got a Luigi from them.
Yes, we decided to do a commission, and I couldn't think of which character I wanted, and of course Nick's like, "How about Luigi?" And I was like, "Of course, Luigi." So
for those of you who aren't familiar, the Kiwi is a big-time Luigi fan.
He is a good character. I have to say that when I am playing Mario, I am typically Luigi, except when I'm playing with Kiwi. She has to be Luigi.
take that. So we saw them, and then the first panel we went to was we saw Will Wheaton, who is best known for playing Wesley Crusher on Star Trek: The Next Generation, and went on to become essentially a professional geek. He has a bunch of appearances in The Big Bang Theory, and he does podcasts and a lot of nerdy related things, and he's developed a fan following from that. And I enjoyed his presentation. I'll let Kiwi tell the story that he told about people confusing him at The Big Bang Theory when the jogging story. But he started talking about all this tabletop gaming stuff, and it's just like, for me, in one ear out the other. I don't know what he was talking about.
Yeah, I had to look stuff up while he was talking.
What is Will Wheaton most famous for again?
Star Trek: The Next Generation. At least I would think that would be his biggest claim to fame.
Is there anything else that I could relate to?
Big Bang Theory?
Big Bang Theory.
Oh, okay.
He was in the movie Stand By Me.
Okay, I follow.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he was before he did Star Trek. He was a young kid.
Was he one of the main characters?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I did not know that.
You realize he didn't mention it in his talk yesterday, right?
Did he? He mentioned so many things. Now I'm going to look this up as we're speaking.
Yeah. So after that, we kind of just wandered around a little bit. We eventually found ourselves in a DC panel.
Wait a minute. Should we mention what we dressed up as?
Oh yeah, I can't believe we didn't do that. So we dressed up this year because when I used to go to these shows before the Kiwi and I were together, I never dressed up. It was never my thing. Maybe I just didn't have the confidence. I don't know. I just never did it. But 2 years ago, you said, Nick, next year we're dressing up. So last year we dressed up, and then we did this year. And I wore my standby costume I made 7-8 years ago now. My Jay Garrick Flash costume, my Golden Age Flash costume. And so that was easy to do. But you, Kiwi, we made a brand new costume for you. And I'm glad how it turned out, but oh my gosh, was that a pain in the ass to make.
Yeah, it did work out very well because we saw it on Sunday, and it's very good. I liked it.
Thank you.
The Kiwi was Robin from, obviously, Batman and Robin. And not any particular Robin, but just a general Robin costume influenced by many different influences. And we had a nice cape. We got to give a shout out to Kiwi's mother, who helped us with some elements, especially on the zipper on the cape, and the Kiwi's sister-in-law, who helped with brainstorming with us on how to do the zipper element, because we put a zipper in there, and Lord knows I don't know how to do
And the interface.
Oh yeah, and the interfacing stuff. Yeah, she provided some interfacing for us. So, and people liked your costume. You got a lot of stopping that wanted your picture.
I did. It's funny because, like, from the start, the Robin one, because to be fair, like, we did start brainstorming, like, I'd say at least 2 months ago, trying to figure out, like, the costume. We knew we were going to have to buy, like, pants and a shirt, and it was very hard trying to get greens to line up.
Yeah, it was. Some of the green was a couple shades off, but I think at the end of the day we got everything pretty close. We got a lot of people stopping, a lot of people shouting out, especially with mine, like, "Hey, Jay Garrick!" The one guy came up to me saying, "I've seen one or two other Jay Garricks, but yours is the best one."
He says that to everybody.
Probably. I'm going to assume he just said it to me.
You did. Like, you wore the same outfit today, Sunday, and I am impressed with the amount of people that stop you, because, I mean, I'm not a Flash person, so I don't know, like, the different, generations of Flash, but there was a lot of people, I will vouch for Nick on this one, that came up to him and said that he was either the best Jay Garrick or, they love that he did Jay Garrick.
Anyway, let's move on. So after we ate, we went to this DC panel where they talked about some Rebirth with the newest publishing initiative called Rebirth. And if you're a DC fan, you'll enjoy it. Kiwi, you kind of dozed off in the middle of it, and I was kind of dozing
I
as
was
well.
completely lost. I mean, I think it's fascinating the people that were so passionate, listening in this panel,
Which,
you know.
can you briefly summarize the topic?
I'm not going to because it's needlessly convoluted. All I'll say is that they pretty much were talking about a bunch of their upcoming books. Like, here's what's going to happen in Superman, and here's what's going to happen in Batman.
Okay.
So we checked that out, and my main, honestly, I kind of stopped going to these types of panels a couple years ago because every time I go, it's a commercial of stuff that I'm probably already aware of because I follow that sort of news. Um, but my main reasoning for going is one of the people that was going to be there, which was a surprise because he wasn't listed anywhere until I kind of found out through third-party ways, is the one of the publishers, one of the main publisher guys. Let me double check his title here. Yeah, the publisher, Dan DiIdo, who he's kind of like DC royalty. He's been kind of in charge of the company, the publishing line for quite a while. And so I want to get a picture with him because that's kind of a rare thing to do, and want to see if he would sign a book because there's this one comic I started a couple years ago because a bunch of people who did this comic happened to be there. It was sort of like like a jam comic where everyone, like a bunch of people, just happened to be contributing to this one issue, and I thought it'd be fun to do a scavenger hunt to get the autographs. And since he was the publisher at the time, I thought, I'll try to get his autograph on it too because why not? And I got the picture, and he was willing to sign the book. I after the panel had ended, I went up to him, and bonus points for me. So,
Are you going to talk about the obnoxious people asking questions?
we'll talk about that when we get to the next one. After that, we kind of roaming the floor, buying some things. Kiwi bought a couple of cool T-shirts, some Parks and Rec related T-shirts.
I totally did. Well, actually, one's a T-shirt, one's like an 80s style sweatshirt, and it's amazing. I'm wearing one right now, which I bought today, but the one I bought on Friday said, "Treat yourself."
So I think you spent more money this weekend than I did. I think in terms of buying stuff at the con, which is fine. Every time you're looking at me,
nothing wrong with that.
Every time you're looking like, Nick, can I buy this? I'm like, you don't need my permission. Because the Kiwi bought so much, we'll be eating ramen for the next 2 months. But then we went to a panel, which was, then we're getting kind of later in the day. We went to 5:45. Michael Cudlitz, from The Walking Dead, who played Abraham, who was killed this past season in a shocking display because no one was expecting it. And
spoiler alert.
The season's over. If they didn't know that already.
Yeah. I don't even watch it, and I know exactly what happened.
I don't watch The Walking Dead, but I'm always intrigued by what these actors have to say, if they're going to be entertaining or not. And this guy was. I liked him. I thought he was fun.
He was. You did not stick through the whole panel, but
that's true.
I was glad I stuck it out. I mean, it's not.
I wish I did stick it out, honestly, but
What was your excuse for skipping out?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
I will say this. There was supposedly a girl that traveled from Florida just to listen to this guy talk, and she did not ask a question, which really surprised me. Like, if she was that much of a fan, like, I'm not denying that she's not a fan, but, like, you flew, halfway across the United States, and you don't ask a question. Like, and here was also the perplexing thing, though. It wasn't just her. He was on the main stage, and I'd say the room was, 80% full, do you say, Nick?
Yeah, I would say so, which is good for a Friday.
Yeah, and he had maybe 10 people ask a question. Maybe.
Well, no, I think that when the audience members are asked to come up, I think that most people ask questions. But if you have a comment, that is still worthy, and we keep on hearing him talk, but I think it's also valuable to hear the comments side, just to say, this is why I think you are a great person, this is why I like what you do, etc., etc.
It's like nobody was doing that, though.
Yeah.
Like they weren't, like no one was getting in front of the microphone, that's what we're saying. Not that they didn't have questions.
Yeah.
So
I was very perplexed. He did say some funny things. about how he's had several fans come up to him, and the fans are dressed as Negan, who, of course, we all know killed, his character, Abraham.
Spoilers.
Yeah, well, we just talked about it. And these fans will be like, yeah, you were my favorite character on the show. And he's like, do you see the irony?
Yeah.
There, as a side note, there was a picture taken, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, of like several Negans, at least like 10 to 15 people's dressed as Negan, gathered around Abraham like he was on his knees, like they were gonna hit him. So I thought that was fun.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I saw that, but I saw that same one.
So about three quarters through the panel, I had left to go check out another panel that was starting. Because I didn't know how busy things were going to be, and I wanted to get a decent seat. It was another DC panel, which they were, it's called DC Comics Special. And I guess it was supposed to be like a quiet panel, like they weren't really advertising it, because it was supposed to be they're talking about something special. And basically what consisted of it was they're trying this new publishing line of books where they want to introduce brand new characters as a way to diversify their line. Like, okay, cool. The main reason I checked that one out wasn't because I cared so much about the new comics, although they do sound interesting. It was that one of the writers that was on the panel, he was not going to be in the Artist Alley this weekend. But I saw that his name was going to be a speaker. And he was a writer for The Flash. His name was Robert Venditti. And I have this poster of a Lego minifigure Flash that's running. It's about, I don't know, like 11 by 17. The last 2 years since I've had this poster, I've had people who have written or drawn the Flash they had like notable runs, not like a one-off here and there, but like, they were with it for a while. Sign the poster. I thought it'd be kind of cool. You could frame it, put it on the wall. It's sort of a neat little talking piece. With this guy being here, I was like, well, maybe he could sign my poster. Typically, it's bad form to, like, in a panel, go to a writer and ask him, can you sign this? Because it's just bad form. So after the panel ended, I walked up there, and there was someone in front of me who had them sign a book that he had written. And I'm like, okay, now I don't feel as awkward. So I went up to him. I'm like, hey, are you signing this weekend? I didn't know you were going to be here. And he's like, no, it was a last-minute thing. And I was like, oh, okay, I have this poster. Do you mind signing it? I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And so I showed him the poster, and he said, oh, that's a cool poster. And he signed it. So I was kind of cool that I was able to get that. So that he was willing to do it. Because you never know. Because sometimes they're there just to speak, and they don't want to deal with that stuff. And I get it. So I didn't want to be obnoxious or rude, because there are so many, and kind of what the Kiwi was talking about, there are so many fans that are entitled, and I hate that shit so much. That are just entitled, like, I read the comics, so you have to pay attention to me. It's like, no, stop acting like a brat. And then we got out of there about 7:30, and that we headed home pretty much after that. We got dinner at the train station and came home. We were home about 10. Our fat cat Indiana was very happy because we could feed her, and
as any fat cat would be.
Yeah. So let's jump ahead to Saturday, because we're kind of talking a lot. Let's kind of move this show along here.
Yeah, that's where we decided to come along, because we do not take Friday off. So
you're not a true comic book convention.
I might get there. We'll see. I am more of a beach guy. I take my PTO for beaches. But yeah, the Graveyard Queen and the Gorehound came dressed up as a combo with you guys as gender swapped Mario and Luigi and Princess Peach and Princess Daisy.
Yeah, I think she's a princess.
Okay. Yeah, it hit off very well. This was the first year that we dressed up, and it's definitely a different experience, because everybody wants to take your photo. And you're not like in the crowd anymore. You are the crowd is looking at you. So it was definitely very fun. Definitely a different experience. But yeah, we got there maybe 2 hours later than you guys. Really only for the fact that it was a rough week, and so we really wanted to sleep in, and we didn't want to be rushing around. So But yeah, then once we got there, we ended up meeting up with you guys, and then did we jump into a panel right off the bat?
Nick
Well-
and I were in a panel when you came.
Yeah,
Right.
we saw a panel that morning, which I was actually excited about because it sounded like it would have been good. It was being presented by Cracked, like Cracked.com, and they were talking about bad movies that deserve a good remake. I'm like, oh, that sounds really interesting. It kind of sucked. Like, at first the panelists weren't doing the actual topic. At least I don't think they were, because at least enough to where the moderator was like, all right, that's not what this panel's about. All right, that's not what that panel's about. And it was just kind of like, I will say, and Kiwi, you pointed this out, talk about the guy that you thought looked like T.J. Miller.
If you would have closed your eyes, you would have thought you heard T.J. Miller.
Yeah.
He had, like, I'd say similar mannerisms. He had the personality and mannerisms of T.J. Miller, and if T.J. Miller would shave his hair, that would be this guy right here.
If T.J. Miller shaved his head, he wouldn't be
Yeah.
T.J. Miller anymore, because then he would look a little bit normal. Which I don't think he's ever looked normal, ever.
That's probably fair, but
Yeah, I would say so. But, so it was very disappointing, and then we bailed on it once they started asking questions because, if you thought the panel was bad, the questions were worse.
Yeah.
see, here's my problem, though. It's the whole point of the panel was talking about movies that they wanted to remake that would be better. Like, they had the concept, but it wasn't executed well. The questions were, oh my God, they were so awful. I couldn't even tell you what they were. Like, after the third person, Nick and I looked at each other like, we can't do this anymore. And we got up and walked out, and we started a trend, and people followed us right out, like in a flow. It wasn't like a couple people. Like, we looked behind us, and like all these people were leaving. It didn't work.
Yeah.
I will say, if I wanted something bad to remake into good, it'd be this panel.
Oh, burn.
Oh, you.
How bad would it be if I like went up there and like, yeah, this panel, and then drop the mic and walk out?
And then just had a mass exodus, and
Yeah.
everybody just left out with you,
Who's with me?
and then nobody does, and then they're like, all right, let's get to the good questions now.
Yeah. So, yeah. After
All right, so
that-
after this
yeah.
panel, you guys met up with us, and then what did we do?
Oh, we saw Ivana Lynch.
Oh, yeah, we walked around for oh, no, we went straight up there, and, yeah, we sat through about half of it.
Yeah, but I don't know, maybe about 3/4 of the way through.
Okay.
I don't know about you guys, but the questions were kind of draining me after a while with her.
Yeah, and I'm not really a Harry Potter fan.
Which is funny because you're the one who said, "Let's go and see her."
It was more like, I want to see a celebrity. We just, took 2 hours to get here. Let's make this worth it. We should also mention that there was free shuttles this year, which was very nice. It saved us $20, even though it's only running like every half hour. So that was good. But yeah, I just wanted to get my money's worth, other than, seeing a whole bunch of, retailers.
Yeah, and can we just say Saturday is such a chaos day. If there was the option to not go on Saturday, I guess there is always the option, but
No,
you
Saturday
pay
is
for
the most
weekend.
exciting day. That's when it's just, you can't move anywhere, and you just have to power through
the
everything.
The fighting of the crowds was so exhausting at one point.
I didn't mind it. I could handle it.
Well, good for you. I mean, it's great to see all the costumes. So this is the best day the costumes come out.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, certainly.
But anyway,
Yeah, so after we walked out of Ivana Lynch, I think we did we split up for a little bit?
well, we went to
we
went to
stayed
the artist
together for
alley.
most of it.
Yeah, we went to
Yeah.
the artist alley, and then Kiwi, you found someone that you've seen the past couple of years who you really liked. Your mouse lady.
I do. And what is her? It's Miles of Mouse Days?
Something.
Of Mice and Madness, no?
Of Mice, yeah, he's right. Of miceandmadness.com.
Okay.
She's
Name drop.
Name drop. She's an artist that we've seen there from the beginning, and I was attracted to her art because one is done in watercolor, and of course, mice are her feature. The one I bought today is a mouse that is dressed as Boba Fett, and we have Han Solo and the Carbonite behind him. She's a very sweet woman. She's passionate in what she does. I like her artwork, so I do like buying a piece of artwork now that I know who she is. I like supporting her. She's very nice. I hope that she has a successful career.
And you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to throw up in the show notes links.
I'll be right back. I'm going to throw up.
Continue talking. I'll be back. I'm going to barf. No.
Kristen, that was just a ridiculous statement. So ridiculous that I have to go to the bathroom right now. I'll be back.
I'm going to put up.
So hurt.
I'm going to put up in our show notes links to these people. So if you're listening to this and you want to know more, you could click on the links in the show notes below. So, So after that, after we kind of wandered around there for a little bit, we
the Graveyard Queen and I did not really do a whole lot of walking around because we were kind of just taking photos and walking around with you guys. Because I knew that I would be going on Sunday where I could, walk every aisle and whatnot and do that because it was more of a different experience. So we didn't really do that a whole lot. But, it was a lot of walking on our part. And I should have expected it. But yeah, that's how I was feeling about that time. Was my legs are hurting.
Well, yeah, that kind of comes with the territory when it comes to.
Yeah, and there's really nowhere to sit down.
Not on Saturday, no.
It is, and even if you're sitting on the floor, you're like, oh well, somebody spilled something over there. That's right by a garbage can. So it's really, you come prepared to stand for the entirety of the convention, but as long as you expect it, that's fine.
So then we went to our next panel, and I think it was our last one of the day. Danielle Panabaker, who is featured on the Flash TV show playing Dr. Caitlin Snow, and I was excited about that because I like the Flash, and I do like her as well. I think she's a rather attractive young lady. The panel was okay, I guess. I didn't know what to expect, I guess, but what was really interesting is that, and Kiwi and I have a theory on this, as opposed to many of the...
Well, you came up with the theory, and I agree with you on it.
Okay, I was trying to give you credit there, but I'll take all of it.
I know. No, it's all you.
Okay. When there's an actor or an actress, some sort of celebrity, typically they'll be featured on the main stage, the big stage, so everyone can go in and watch them and be like, ask questions, and it's brightly lit. The celebrities sit on couches, class act. Hers was in one of the side rooms. It was dark in there. It was kind of tough to see, which was odd. We thought that was odd, especially when we noticed that the way the program, the way the panels were listed in the program was incredibly different from what was the reality of it. So I'm sure there was a lot of confusion that was going on for fans of the show trying to find where the different panels were. It was right online, but they probably printed up the booklets weeks in advance before they changed it. But anyway, originally she was scheduled to be on the main stage, but then that somehow got switched around. In addition, when we got in there, they said, "Oh, please no photos, no photos." I have a feeling that it was by her request to be in this smaller room. Also, her request probably for the no photos.
Yeah, because it wasn't broadcast on the TV either, or the big screen.
Yeah, there's no video cameras in there to broadcast so people who are far away could see better. So I'm thinking it was her request to do that. She also claimed she was sick, but I don't know if that would have made a difference.
Yeah.
She did cough a few times after she said she was sick.
I mean, I just feel like that's a default thing, and really nothing to blame, because you need a polite excuse to say I don't want hundreds of guys touching me.
Well, yeah, there was one girl who said, "Can I hug you?" And like, no, I'm sorry, I'm sick. Although she was coughing before and after, so there might be some truth to that.
Was she coughing before? I don't remember her coughing until
I did
after.
notice. I did know. Well, I started noticing it more, but I did see that she was coughing a little bit. But
it's not really something that she really needs to sell either.
Yeah.
So.
But it was much more formal because they weren't relaxed on the couch. It was I don't know. It just she was fine. It was kind of cool seeing her, but she seems taller in real life than she is on the show. I don't know, but she it just seemed more stilted. So I don't know. I don't regret seeing her. It was kind of cool because I do like the show, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Then after that, we ended up heading out because we did not want to be spending the night in Chicago. So we basically got on out of there, took a few more photos, and then found out that like every place to eat for dinner was closed, which is apparently typical on Chicago weekends, which was unfortunate because we were like ready for a restaurant to take our money for some beers and burgers, but they were like, "No, we don't want your money."
You know what's odd? That the restaurant that we did find that supposedly was open closed at least an hour before they said they were going to.
Yeah.
And they must have just closed because when we had walked there, the doors were locked, but the lights were on. And when we walked past them coming home, they were completely shut off.
Yeah.
So, fine. You don't want our business? We'll go somewhere else.
Yeah. So we did. So yeah, the next day, the Graveyard Queen ended up skipping out, and the Gorehound took his mom for a little experience because she was a photographer, and we got there a little bit earlier than the day prior because I actually knew the route. I knew where the pickups were. I knew where to grab lunch or brunch, and we ended up getting there earlier at like noon, which was cool. As soon as we got there, I ended up running on over to the Millie Bobby Brown, and my mom ended up taking photos because that is what she does best. So, but yeah, the Millie Bobby Brown,
with Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things. The Kiwi and I got there. We actually wandered into the Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio, because he was on before. And what's really odd, normally with the big room, they'll have people stand there, line up before they let them in for the next panel. And we'd gotten to Vincent one about 10 minutes before it closed, and they were just letting people in. So I'm like, okay. And I found a spot just to sit down, and then Kiwi, you followed me because you went to go get coffee or something. And once that one ended, the room started to clear, and then we moved up, and you bolted up there. You bolted.
I did. I had my eyes set, and I was like, "We're doing this." And I turned around, I'm like, "Where's Nick?" I'm like, "Oh well, I saved a seat."
Yeah. So, and we got third, fourth row for Millie Bobby Brown.
It wasn't that close because there was still
close.
Reserved seating in front of us that we didn't have access to.
Right. Well, I guess even still, we were pretty good. We got pretty good seats, and then so we had the Millie Bobby Brown, and that was pretty interesting. I mean, she's like a 13-year-old kid.
Right, and
she's a kid. It's like, how much do you really? Say? I will say one of her biggest fans was sitting next to us, and
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I kind of want to tell part of the story. We were sitting down. Kiwi, you were at the edge of the aisle. I was in one, and the seat next to me was open. And this girl and her mother come up, and the mother asked, "Is that seat open? Like, is anyone sitting there?" And I said to the kid, "Yeah, you are." And the kid was like, "Oh, really?" She was like super excited. And I'm like, yeah. And she was really excited to see Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah, quite a few fans because that was kind of like a Stranger Things day. because they had Gayton, the Toothless, and Millie was there. So, yeah, a lot of Stranger Things cosplay on Sunday. Much more than I saw on Saturday.
Kiwi, what were you about to say about this girl? I just wanted to tell that part. You could tell the rest.
Well, she asked a question, which I did not know this about Millie Bobby Brown, that she also sings.
Yeah.
And so the girl next to us went up and asked a question and said, "Oh, can you sing us a song?" And she's like, "Sure." And apparently this Millie Bobby Brown also sings Amy Winehouse. So she chose, I think, her Rehab song to sing, like the first verse. And the girl went and sat down next to us again. And Nick did not realize, but yes, she was crying. She was so happy that Millie Bobby Brown was singing, and she was brought to tears, which I thought was very touching. I mean, this girl was, 12 years old?
Oh, yeah, it had to be right around the same age that Millie Bobby Brown is.
So yeah, after I ended up leaving, I think after like 45 minutes in there, just because I really wanted to take in the rest of the sites, and I was like, okay, I got my fill of this, because I was just doing it because it was, another celebrity, and I wanted to get my money's worth.
Yeah, you didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very cool that she's got this career going for, that Stranger Things, made her popular, but she's a kid, she doesn't have all these worldly experiences to talk about. So, I mean,
Yeah, we really saw that comparison, because later on in the day, we saw Luke Cage, who was just, I thought he was very thrilling to listen to. He was like ready for every question, and he was ready in between the questions.
For just a second, go back to Millie Bobby Brown before we get into Luke Cage. Her panel ended 15 minutes early.
Oh, did it?
It did. And
that's right.
And we were looking at it because they're like, oh, one last question, and we're like, what? We still got 15 minutes. Not that I cared all that much, but like for the real big fans, I was surprised. The only thing I could think of is she mentioned how she's on a really busy schedule. Like she flew in today, like right before the convention opened, and she's
like from Atlanta, right?
I think so, yeah. And she's leaving. She left tonight at 5:00. So
child labor laws, man.
Well, I don't think it was so much that. I think she needed to get back to filming season 2. But yeah, she was like boom, boom, in and out. So there was like a lot of waiting in between the two panels, and which allowed us to get even closer seats to see Michael Colter.
I ended up walking up and down the aisles, picked up a few comics, and I realized I went there just thinking I would just pick up some good deals, and I realized that I didn't have anything in mind, which I thought, well, that'll be fun. I'll just grab some randos. And it's actually kind of difficult to just go in there looking for like just some random things, because it's very easy to have a goal in there to try to find something, rather than just, look at whatever.
I beg to differ. Because I had a goal to find some things. I was having trouble finding some stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, because am I just going to start looking in the first letter that I come across? So, I honestly did that. And luckily I did find something which I will enjoy. But I feel like I also really like looking forward to things. I will, if I get a candy bar, I will hold on to it for 3 days and think about eating that candy bar until I actually do. And so if I say, oh, I'm going to look up, this timeline of Doctor Strange, I'm going to look forward to finally getting that within a week's time. And I think that adds value to it. Other than, oh, I think I will be excited about this. I ended up picking up some Marvel Zombies timeline comics, and I just found some that were in a continuous line. So I said, okay, I can roll with this.
Very good. So, Mike Colter. Let's talk about Mr. Luke Cage.
Did you enjoy the panel?
Yeah, I liked it. Kiwi?
I did too. And I don't watch the show.
Well, I thought that you guys just cruised through it.
We cruised through Stranger Things. I was the one watching Luke Cage.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kiwi, you didn't watch it with him?
Well, here's the thing. It's not that I would be opposed to watching it, is that I don't have a lot of time like in my day. Once I get home from work, we eat dinner, we maybe watch a show, maybe play some Mario, and then I head to bed. Nick does not go to bed when I do. I don't blame him. You know, I have to get up at 5 a.m. So he stays up and he either reads or watches.
Started.
Yeah, he reads or watches TV, and I believe you watched Luke Cage when I went to bed, right?
Yeah, every now and again. I did not watch it I didn't really binge it all that much, but that's okay. I was really taking my time with it, not intentionally, just I don't want to say anything bad about the show because it's going to come off worse than I mean it, but it was really tough for me to work through it because it's very, very slow moving by design, and it was just, I don't know, my motivation was like I wanted to, but like I get to it later, I'll watch this right now. So that's why it took me like 4 months to get through Luke Cage. But yeah, but he was good. He was ready for every. I think we were talking, Kiwi, right before we were doing the episode, that he was ready for all the questions and a lot of
and that his answers were pretty inspirational because he is a very iconic person. His character, just himself, he's very good at what he does, and he actually has like a message that he's like giving to it, which was really good.
Sweet Christmas.
Yeah, he didn't give any iconic lines, but hey, there were quite a few comments talking about how good he looked.
Yeah, mostly from men.
Yeah,
and it was. I was like, Nick, are these like? Does he give off like some pheromones or something? Like, I was just perplexed at the amount of men that were like, "You're a beautiful man." That was what he literally said. "You're a very beautiful man." And then there was
everybody in the audience went.
Oh, there was another person that said like, "You're even more sexy in person," or that one. And then there's that older woman who was saying like, "Can I touch your pecs?"
Yeah. I don't want to hug. I just want to touch your pecs.
Yeah.
Cause that's so much better.
So yeah, he was worthwhile seeing in person. Really looking to see him in Defenders, and then his next one.
So after my Colter, we kind of did let's back up for a little bit because this is kind of funny. Before you had gotten there, Gorehound, the Kiwi and I, we were getting into the show, and we knew we had limited time, and there were some things that you wanted to do, Kiwi, and some things I wanted to do, and I brought this up to you, and you're like, "Oh, good, I was going to suggest the same thing."
Yes.
And we're like, "Do you want to just split up so we could do our own things and just meet up later, cover more ground?" And you're like, "Yes," which we did. We got some stuff done, and it worked out pretty well, I think. Because I felt like this year time just kept getting away from us. Like even though there was,
it went by very fast.
But after Mike Colter, we did one more sweep of the floor. I think you went to go find some more comics. Kiwi and I got ice cream, which is my little tradition that I like to do. I typically like to do if I can. At the end, the last day of a convention, I go try to get an ice cream cone, and we headed out shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
Almost missed the shuttle.
No, we didn't miss the shuttle.
I stand by. When we got there, there's a shuttle that was about ready to leave, and he's like, "Oh, I don't have room for you guys." I don't think he actually checked. I think it was one of those where I don't want to like have to figure out if there's seats for you on the bus. So he's like, "There's one right behind. You just take that one."
Yeah,
bad
and
customer service.
Let's just set the scene. The bus ride from McCormick Place to Chicago Union Station is about, let's say, 20 minutes. 15, 20 minutes, depending on traffic.
I was going to say at least 20 minutes because of traffic.
Okay.
Well, we made it there in.
We left
Continue.
we left at 3:40 to jump on this shuttle. Our train was at 4:30. Plenty of time. We were told, no, sorry, we can't get on this shuttle. Go on the next one. We get on the next one. The next one leaves at like 5 to 4. And Kiwi, you were very nervous, thinking we are not going to make that train because the next train after 4:30 was going to be 6:30.
Yeah, 2 hours and 10 minutes later.
Which, to be fair, if we had missed it, we would have recorded the podcast at that point in time, and we've been having a very different conversation. But
Yeah. And just sitting in the hall of the Union Station.
We sound very echoey.
Yeah.
So there's that, and we did the train. I'm sorry, the shuttle got us there at 4:15 or a little after, and we start to hustle. And I'm running to catch the train, and all of a sudden I hear, "Nick, wait!" And I turn around and find your mom face planted on the floor.
Well, not face planted, but just took a little bit of a tumble.
Yeah, so she kind of banged up her knee pretty good, but
Yeah.
she's okay, thankfully.
Yeah.
I think she was more worried if her camera got damaged at all, which I don't blame her. But we were able to make the train with plenty of time.
Yeah.
And it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, got home at a good time, and the weekend was a blast. Very, very tight and fast paced, but it was worth it.
So, the Gorehound, are you taking tomorrow off of work at all?
No,
Sucker.
like I said, I'm a beach day. That is what I spend my PTO on, and that is what my PTO is going towards.
Okay. We're the Kiwi and I are taking the day off because what happened last year, Kiwi, when I said you should take Monday off and you said, "No, I'll be fine, Nick."
I'll be fine. And it was very hard going to work the next day. I was like, secretly hating you all day long, knowing the fact that you're at home resting. And I was like, I have to go to work, and I am just exhausted. So, I decided, you know what? I have some time. I am going to take time off.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So, I guess that's our C2E2 experience. As we kind of wrap up here, let's see, are there any overall thoughts you had about this year's convention compared to previous years?
Yeah, the lack of legitimate celebrity guests.
I'll agree with that one. Well,
Take that, every celebrity who came.
There were celebrities there, but there wasn't.
Like a big headliner?
Yeah, and we were mentioning this weeks before. Like there was just nobody that was really drawing us in here. We were kind of just going there out of tradition. We like these types of events, but the celebrities are not the reason that we are coming there.
well, to be fair, I did not seek out oh my god, I have to go see this celebrity. The Luke Cage one. I will say the celebrities that we saw, most of them were pretty good to listen to, but it's kind of the first 2 years I went, there was always a Game of Thrones panel, and there hasn't been a Game of Thrones panel the past 2 years. And I'm like, there's enough dead people that they can surely have a Game of Thrones panel. So I was disappointed by that. It's such a big following that you can't get one person from Game of Thrones to go to this convention. That was my complaint.
Kiwi, what about you?
I enjoyed the show very much. I was very happy to see 2 returning artists that I do follow. I wish there was Game of Thrones panel.
Maybe you should have a
that
fan. You should throw your own panel, like Game of Thrones, the fan panel.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can have someone dressed up as Jon Snow and be I know nothing.
possibly.
Do you want me to dress up as Jon Snow?
No. You wouldn't make a good Jon Snow. Sorry.
How about, can I be
Take
Hodor?
that.
Can I be Hodor? Hodor! Alright, I'm done talking.
Sure. If anyone is new to C2E2, I suggest they go on Friday. It's the slowest day, and you can get more of a lay of the land. Just don't cruise Artist Alley when it's dead, because it's a little awkward at some points. And as to the women, you don't have to dress slutty to be sexy. So keep that in mind, all you people wearing pasties out there.
Why are you slut shaming people, Kiwi?
All the women that are just like,
This isn't an R-rated event, okay?
It's like, they're having like their tits and ass hanging out, and I'm like, come on, like you don't have to pick the sluttiest character to dress up as. I'm sorry.
Can I speak to that for a second? In terms of the panels, there was, and I hate that this is a real thing, a quote-unquote professional cosplayer. Her name was Ivy Doomkitty. That's not a real name, but that's beside the point. She had 2 panels dedicated to her. 2. And they were titled differently, but if you read the description, they were the exact same thing about who she is and why she's so great. I'm sorry, no. You walk around dressed in costumes, have your boobs hang out, and that's why people like to see you, because horny nerds like to see boobs hanging out. And you know what? If you can make a living off it, go for it, girl. Good for you. But it bothers me that 2 panels are dedicated to this non-celebrity when other panels were probably rejected. Okay, if you have
like the all-new CultureCast live podcast. Where were they?
Well, we didn't actually submit an application this year. Maybe next year. But I'm thinking, like, what other thing is being booted out because you have to have 2 panels about how great you are? I'm sorry, that irritates me to no end.
Did anyone know actually who she was? I mean, I had no idea who she was.
I don't know.
I'm not the keeper of all things, but she's not the big name.
Her, like, previous years. She's a known name in the cosplay world. I think she was like on like a TV show or something like that.
As Nick pointed out, the picture that they used as her promo was not like the greatest cosplay costume.
It was just like her busting out. And here's another thing about that. There's a lot of, I joked earlier about why are you slut shaming, but there's a lot of controversy in terms of conventions and cosplay, and that a lot of people think are frustrated that people get all dressed up and all going out just to get attention, and that they don't actually care about going to the show, and particularly that females who want to look all sexy, whatever. And there's a big, the whole cosplay is not consent, don't harass people, which you shouldn't. But at the same time, you're objectifying yourself by highlighting the good, so to speak. And I feel there's a real big mixed message, but you can never have a legit conversation about it because it inevitably will turn into stop objectifying me, stop trying to oppress me from the people who are cosplaying, and then you have the gatekeepers of the nerd community saying, well, you don't care about the comment. You have the extreme ends that just come into it. You can't actually discuss the issue.
To be fair, like, I am not trying to slut shame anyone.
I know. I was just
like, if you want to, dress. I'm just saying though, like, if you want to dress sexy, it's one thing, but like, literally, people are walking around in bikinis, they're wearing pasties and panties, and I'm like, really, like, you are just trying to get attention, and I feel bad for them that they have that low of self-esteem that they feel they need to dress that way.
Yeah.
Half naked women. Actually, no, they're like 80% naked. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, if that's what the character looks like, fine, I get it. But like, there are people who like take Robin, for example, and then turn Robin into nothing but a big boob, literally.
Right.
Versus doing, I don't know. There's so many discussion pieces.
I know. But see, I love, Nick, that I feel that I can look sexy without, revealing anything. And I love that you do that for me. Like last year when I was Catwoman, people loved my outfit. And that was thanks to you. People wanted the picture taken with me, and I was not dressed slutty.
As for my final thoughts, this weekend. I thought it was a lot of fun. I feel like the time went by much quicker this time around than in previous years. I don't know why that was.
And we were there longer.
We were. I mean, I'm thinking back the first year I went with my buddy Glenn 5-6 years ago, and like I felt like the full day felt like the full day. So I don't know why it felt like time just got away from us. But all right, I don't have trivia because I've been exhausted this week.
Yeah.
And
What were you doing?
I was making your making you look good.
Touche.
This recording's coming in at an hour and 20 minutes, so I'm going to have some fun editing things out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, let's wrap this up here. This has been our C2E2 2017. Woo!
Woo!
Maybe we'll do one next year if we go. I don't know.
Oh, this tradition, please.
I don't know. I'm Nick,
I'm the Gorehound.
I'm Kiwi.
and this has been the all-new Culture Cast. Thanks for listening, and we'll check you out next week. You've been listening to the all-new Culture Cast, one of Chicagoland's finest podcasts.
You're making me fall asleep to death.
Well, I guess there's not much we can do about that. In the meantime, check out our blog at znculturecast.wordpress.com. Send us an email at nick.culturecast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your feedback, comments, and requests. Follow us on social media. Theme music by bensound.com. This has been a Saltwater production, copyright 2017. Thanks for listening. I was ready to go, but we had...
No.
Yeah, let me finish. Yeah, you heard me.
Hashtag marital bliss.